do believe we are live. So I'll say, indeed, and greetings unto you, beloved and holy friends. Thank you for joining me again on another conscious evolution. Today's stream topic is about the weird things that people do. The weird things that people do. Like this. This is a very people thing to do. A live stream. I would think, at least. I've never seen lizards or monkeys or elephants go live intentionally, at the very least, right? I've never seen monkeys manufacture pieces of metal and then put marijuanas in them and then manufacture little sticks of fire that run on liquid gas and then heat up their little metal thingies so that the THC evaporates. All of these things are very weird, but the weirdness is pretty human, right? And I want to extend today's stream topic into the extremes of how weird can we get, and does it stop being human at some point? Right? When we go cybernetic, for example, I believe the part of us that wants to do that will still be acting as humanity, right? And that is today's, at least, mental direction I want to be steered in. Thinking about this stuff. Hello, lovelies. Hello, Zano. Thank you for joining us, dear friend. It's only me. Echo, echo, echo. It was me and you. We can scream in the caves together. We have Joe and Sam here next to us as well. Some other friends that are just enamored with the beauty around them, not saying a word. Thank you, everyone, for joining us. It's always a pleasure. The weird things that people do. Yeah, but when I want to talk about this, it's Sam, you're being mean. No, no. Maybe there's a time and a place. Right. Maybe the fact that humans have a time and a place for everything is a weird thing. Right? Or something. Or something like that. Surely. Right? Hey, Joviv. Joviv is here too with us. Bless you, friend. Weird is good. Yes, that is the lesson of today's stream for me, at the very least. Is that weird is good, and that we're probably going to go more weird than less weird. Yeah, that's much better lighting. Like significantly better. Nice. Weird is good. Weird is human. Yeah, that is actually it. Weird is human. Because today, when I came out of my hut to go come and do my stream, and I went to come and get my tripod and my yoga mat, there were a bunch of, I mean, a bunch is two, surely. There was two lizards on my yoga mat, and instantly they go looking at me. They don't run away instantly. They just look at me, and then I start to explain to them, "Don't ye worry about me, little lizards. I'm just gonna go and get my yoga mat and my tripod. I'll be out of your hair in no time." And then they just watch me, right? They just observe as I move in their space, getting my things. And then I pick up this cushion I'm sitting on. And to that lizard, it's like a wall I'm picking up, right? It's equivalent of what a wall would be. I'm just picking up and moving through space. And I was thinking to myself, that did startle him or her a little bit. Me picking things up, big things, right? Like, what the hell? Suddenly, this thing that used to be like a wall for me, something I would climb and rest on, is just being moved by this entity. And I was looking through the lizard's eyes at myself. And I thought myself to be very weird, very human, right? And again, there still is this contrast happening in my mind of the differences we have with our little creatures that live amongst us. What makes us human? Maybe that's, a sub question for today's stream. What makes you human? If there was one thing that you felt uniquely makes you human, what would that be? One of the things that I believe makes me human is my ability to love. I want to say my ability to love unconditionally, but I don't know if I can do that. Maybe I can. Maybe I have been doing that in some ways, but that feels like a tall order to just take onto myself, vibe. Yeah. Thank you, friends, for being weirdly human alongside me. Bless all of you. Weird is fun. Yeah. Well, well, well. Imagine seeing you weirdos. Who would guess? Who would guess the weirdos would find themselves in this stream? Uniquely humaning. We have Kristen here too. Bless Dan. Thank you for joining us, man. Good morning, brother. It's my birthday. I'm 52 today, and tomorrow I get my 5 minutes of fame on the stage. Yeah, 20th of March. Our beloved brother Dan is going to be doing stand up comedy. And today he turned 52. What a cool number that is. 52. It's how old I am reversed. Right? At least for the next few months before I turn 26. How much life have you lived? How much have you seen? How much more than me do you know at this point, bro? So much material to do your stand-up comedy with. Bless you, man. Happy birthday. Thank you for joining us. Yeah, you're a full deck of cards now, Dan. Nice. I like that actually. Good morning. Cigar is here with us. Missed you yesterday. It's nice having you here. Happy anniversary on your trip around the sun, Dan. OG Cigaroo. Yeah. I have some white wedding in this little straw of mine. I'm going to go and take sips of this white wedding smoothie that I have. Right, YouTube? This is just a smoothie straw. Under here is a cup that I'm drinking out of. Surely, that's exactly what's happening. I don't know why I'm being meticulous about it. I'm just having some fun, I guess. Love is true. Clickety clickety. Click. I feel especially calm today. That tastes. That tastes like it's gonna make me more calm. Bethany Foster. Hey, Melty. Sending peace, love, and light. Bethany Foster. I don't think I've seen your username in a while, friend. What a pleasure it is to see you now. Thank you for joining us. Sending you peace, love, and light as well. How are you doing? Where have you been? How have you been? What weirdly human things have you been up to? It's Harley Q, of course. Harley Quinn. Suddenly my brain gets melted all over again. Because now I can see the face of the person. I'm still doing the marijuanas. I just upgraded my consumptions technique. I'm no longer burning it. I just punch the THC out of it with this fire stick. Come out of here so I can inhale you. Making coffee myself and about to light my cone. I just finished rolling. When are you getting yourself a done of ab cigar? You've just been wrapped up in life. Sounds about right. Me too, dear friend. Me too. It has been beautiful learning, watching all of these layers of attachment unfurl and retighten. I have been thinking about how do I say this? A call for help. Yeah, that could be one way to say it. I have been thinking about a call for help, where I want to send messages to you friends and ask you if you would be willing to help me. Might be a little bit too tall of an order, and I get that. But we have this gesagte, this saying in South Africa that goes, "Vra is vrij en weier daarbij," which directly translates to, "Asking is free, and so is saying no." Yeah, so that's true. We'll see if it can be done. I might have to think about doing it sooner rather than later. But yeah, we need to get new microphones. It needs to be done. Right. Right. I feel that way at least. I feel that way. We'll make a flag. My wired human thing is always align my oldest cat to rule my morning. My weird probably is the yeah, weird even. Sorry. Weird my weird human thing is allowing my oldest cat to rule my morning. Yeah, isn't that a weird human thing? Thank you, Cigar, for sharing a weird human thing with me. The fact that there is a dynamic of two creatures living in the same space where one creature says meow and the other creature starts getting up and doing things, getting food out, getting some milk out. I don't know if you give your cats milk. I don't think you're supposed to. uh I don't think the cats got the memo though. Like our cats still get milk. I know it's not good for them. I know that. I know we're not supposed to give the cats milk, but you don't have to deal with them screaming at you relentlessly until you give them what they want, right? It's not about whether it's good for them or not. It's whether they want it or not. And as soon as they realize they can have, they'll let you know. Right? Ginger just standing on that fridge, looking at me, going meow. And I'm like, what do you want, bro? And he looks at his ball. And he looks back at me and they meow. That is very weirdly human. Having ourselves manipulated by these little animals. I mean, I've seen primates take kindly to kittens, right? Like they also find them cute and they want to play with them. I don't know about all primates, but some primates at the very least. Would they take care of them? Would they be manipulated by them? Would they give their food to them? I don't know if I want to know this information purely due to the fact that that's going to have to take a lot of experimentation. And I don't know if that's ethical. So I'm going to put it down. Joe Bob, full deck. That's the best, right? That is pretty funny. You're now officially a full deck. It's been a long time, just wrapped my life. Wah! Have had some loss and still recovering. What kind of help? Maybe I can. I would like to maybe like verbalize it in stream as well, and I'm probably gonna do this. Reach out to a bunch of friends, asking them if they would be willing to contribute a percentage of a microphone slash camera setup. That's gonna be the fractal. I'll reach out, and again, vrouw is vrij en wij daarbij. Asking is free and so is saying no. So I'm gonna put in some effort, try and write a pitch up. The fact that my microphones got stolen wasn't a part of the plan, kind of vibe. I was planning on getting this camera and microphone. I thought I would have some time before needing to. Right, from the perspective of not needing more microphones because you already have microphones, Mel. Why do you need more technology when you already have stuff? Like now I can go, oh, joke's on you, bro. I don't have stuff anymore. And it goes, yeah, it's a good point you're making. I know. You know what's not a good point to make? You know, you ain't got no cash to buy shit right now. Yeah, I get that. I get that too. Do you have Cash App? No, I do have PayPal. PayPal is probably going to be the best way. Thank you for being willing to, Harleen. Love is true. Weird even. Yeah, they go for milk and butter, and small amounts won't hurt. So they would be stuck on YouTube watching kitten videos too. I've seen animals use the internet. And when you give a monkey access to an Instagram account, they use it the same way humans use it to look at other humans. They look at other monkeys or chimpanzees or whatever. That one is a chimpanzee. They look at other chimpanzees. They'll scroll down their feed until they find photo, video of chimpanzee, and they'll click on that one specifically to see. I've seen the same thing with a parrot, where they taught a parrot how to use YouTube on a cell phone with a user interface. All right? And then this parrot scrolls down the thumbnails until it sees a parrot on the thumbnail and then clicks on it. And then the parrot's open on the screen and then it watches. tries to have a conversation, speaks, makes sounds as well. And then the person closes the video of the parrot and opens a video of a person. Instantly, that parrot like rushes to close the video of the people and open a new video of a parrot again. Like I don't know if you've seen that video, but you need to go and watch it because it shows me, at the very least, that there is something going on inside these creatures that, even though we consider some of the weird stuff we do, like this technology and the way we can interface with it as uniquely human, it might not be. Maybe it's a matter of doing or knowing how to do in the first place. Is that possible? Right? Because in my mind, I think it's very human to carry things from one place to another. And I haven't seen lizards. Oh, there's a lizard literally peeking around the wooden corner looking at me right now. Ow, ow, ow. I haven't seen lizards carry things around. Alright? Is it because they haven't been taught how to? Look at that lizard. Like he's literally watching me around the corner. Yeah, it's nice seeing you too, little lizard. What's up? What's up? Okay. Right? Would be cool to watch them try and build a little hut or something. Do they not have the intelligence for it? Is our intelligence what makes us human? Is our intelligence what makes us weird? I feel like a lot of people would like me to say, the weirder you are, the more intelligent you are. Totally. That's how it is. You can put that in your pipe and smoke it. Tell everybody. If somebody tells you you're weird, tell them, Meltmore told me weird people are more intelligent. So, joke's on you, dude. Being weird's a compliment. Hey, Isaac is here. Bless you, bro. Thank you for joining us. It's nice seeing your name here, man. Definitely have that as well, Zano. I share way too much. Like the joke is as well, Isaac is the one who like bought my microphones for me in America. I sent him the cash for it. I think he might have occurred like a few extra dollars loss on the shipping or something. But Isaac was the one who made that happen the previous time. Bless you, bro. Missed y'all. Apologies for disappearing like Batman once again. You cannot disappear, bro. We are all just here. In this now. We call our now. Which is technically the shared now. All over infinity. Right? Here we are. Kumbayaing, dude. Masculine, unchanged consciousness. Melted. Through feminine. Changing everything. All we have to do is love each other, bro. Love you when you're here for us to love. Blessings to you, Isaac. That's amazing that there was basically proof of recognition of one's own species. Yeah. Yeah. Like not only proof of recognition, but desire of experience. Right? I feel like that's even more significant to me. Like you recognizing a member of your own species isn't impressive to me that much, because instinct and having sex with things. I'm sorry to put it so bluntly, but if you didn't recognize your own species, you would have a hard time procreating. So I get like the neurological implications of seeing your own species. However, the thing that's more trippy to me is the desire behind that neurons, right? Like the neurons might already be there, the instincts, the biology, the programming might already be there, but the consciousness behind that programming desires to see one thing instead of another. And that's the thing that gets me being like, if there is desire behind those eyes, then surely there is a narrative, right? Because desire in my mind means like or not like, right? So it might just be that simple, might just be as simple as like, good, dopamine, nice. And no, like, maybe that's all the conversation that there's to be had. However, I can still have a conversation with an entity like that. I can talk to the lizard and I go, what do you think of that fly? And it goes like, and I'm like, yeah, that makes sense. Lizard likes fly. Makes sense. But then I can go deeper. What do you think about tiles? Like, okay, interesting. You know? Then I can ask, you like the smooth part of the tiles? Like, interesting. How about rough? How about the bricks? Like, no like? No like. Oh, because it's rough? Like, oh, nice. Cool. How long would I be able to have this conversation with a lizard for? I don't know. Until I know enough. Until I know that lizard. And then I would have to have a conversation with another lizard to find out. Right? Do they share preferences? And if they don't, why? Is that weird? Is it weird to not share those preferences? Is it weird that we find ourselves weird enough that we might be weird to society? However, we might fit in with each other. Isn't that weird? Isn't that weird that human beings can do that as well? That even though we would recognize each other as human beings, right? The depth, the like versus no like that goes on behind our neurons, behind our eyes, is important to us. When we have that conversation with another person, when we hear them like something we like, that forms connections, right? To the point where eventually you go, oh, this person is like me. Because we all technically are like each other. We just get caught up in our own little stories. I used to catch lizards when I was little. Me too. I caught so many lizards. I still want to catch them. When I see them just chilling, I still want to catch them. I love them. But then I learned that they can drop their tails, and I was horrified. Never picked them up again because I didn't want to traumatize them. Yeah. Yeah. I think I've only scared a lizard so much that it dropped its tail once. But only once. And it was like a gecko, technically, not a lizard. Lizards never. These lizards are pretty resilient. I think the only way for them to drop their tail is if you're pinching on it and they're trying to get away from you or something like that, which I've never done. I usually, if I try and catch them, I try and hold on to their bodies. There's a lizard looking at me again. I mean, my niece was able to search and find what she wanted on YouTube before speaking full sentences or reading. I find interfacing of apps is much more simple to use than to build for now. Our intelligence does this weird thing where it enables to a point, then it cripples and kind of prevents people from maintaining perspective on shit. Yeah, that's called the default mode network, right? Like when you're young and open minded kind of vibe, you're basically in a high brain derived neurotropic factor state. You have a little bit more neuroplasticity. And as a result of it, you're kind of like finding your feet mentally and emotionally speaking. And that opens you up to learn things quicker. But then as we get older and we kind of like get in the groove of things, we literally start to like down regulate our own minds into something that's called the default mode network, which is like a cycle, a pattern of doing that becomes you. And when we become that version of ourselves, it's hard to be the full version of us because that's like the autopilot version of you, right? And my personal philosophy on that, and this is not advice, is to take psychedelics because it has been proven to downregulate your default mode network. And when that happens, your brain is basically expected to form new connections or to, at the very least, use this different connections. So yeah, there is hope. There is hope for our consciousness. It doesn't have to be a definite kind of vibe. Oh boy, remember that shit is a few hundred, but what we do here is worth millions to me. So much love, love to you. Yeah, a few hundred. You took a few $100 of damage on the shipping? What do you mean? Then we got scammed though. Like I could pay those I could buy those microphones here in South Africa for about 8,000 rand, right? And I paid 7,900 rand for them with just the dollar value. Then you paid shipping, and apparently it's hundreds of dollars, so that's another 2,000 rand. And then I had to pay 2,000 rands worth of import taxes when it got here. So we paid 4,000 rand more for them. I did get it before most people had those in South Africa, though. Thanks to Isaac. Thank you, bro. Now they're someone else's. They left the little windbreaks, though. I do want a new one. Being this close to the camera. And I, weirdly enough, I feel extra aware the car. There we go. The new microphones will have 32-bit float. You're like, I don't know what that means, Mel. That means, basically, in layman's terms, the way I understand it at least, is that there is more information, right? Where it has multiple different iterations all up the loudness chain, right? So even if you're super loud, it has like a low decibel version of the super loud. And even if you're super quiet, it has a loud decibel version of the super quiet. And then creating like an equalized audio platform or profile for the person listening. And hopefully that will make it possible for me to be able to cut most of the extraneous sounds out. We'll see though. Hey, Untitled is here too. Untitled, wasn't it you I talked to about the whole microphones thing? Was it? Wasn't you? Love is true. It's nice having you here. Mm, I do have some good news to share. Got a few hundred. Got a new job 3 weeks ago. It's been the best. So much love. I feel like I was made for the position and the team. Absolutely opposite of what I pursued before. What a trip. Isaac, bless you, bro. I'm so happy to hear this, man. You deserve it, dude. Isaac went through a fractal, didn't enjoy the job he was working at, actually set the intention of quitting, had a week or so where we saw him a few times of not working, going through the motions that kind of brings, and now he's in a workplace that actually values him as a human being. And the fact that he values that workplace as well, even more benefit. Love is true, man. All flies are named Jeff, I'm pretty sure. Thank you, Shadow. 2.5 years of hell. It makes me tear up to see how fulfilling and happy I am with this position. I owe my psyche many apologies. Making it up always. Yeah. Always wondered what happened to Dewey. Of all the Wilkerson troublemakers, he's the most likely one to end up here. Dewey. Am I missing something? Maybe with the weirdness coming, right? Us finding ourselves here. There's a helicopter flying over us. That's the second one. One came over me while I was doing yoga as well. Our intelligence does this weird thing. Yeah, okay, that's the one I've heard read. Always wondered. We don't learn our lessons, we remember them. Sometimes we like to pretend ignorance, right? Yeah. For a blissful moment. I want an eyes in the bush emote to show how intently I'm watching you all from my lurk. Isaac, that is something I try to explain to people sometimes about experiences we all have and what we glean from them. Yeah. How much can we learn from our own weirdness? From the weirdness of the world. I'm going to embrace a little bit more white wedding. I feel called to. I wanted to verbalize in a way that might be a little bit too visceral. I still want to. I've been called to nuzzle my face in the bosom of marijuaners. Doesn't feel that visceral, right? Marijuana is a plant, right? In the bushels of marijuana. There we go. Nice, nice. Now it checks out completely. What did I miss? Something to explain. Glean from them. It's very interesting cigar. It's almost like the minute you tell yourself you've crossed off a lesson, you get it. The exact moment you begin to struggle again. Yeah. Isn't that funny? Yeah, I got this. I know what's going on. This is fine. You know, as soon as those words leave your mouth or that thought crosses your mind, new lessons. Names, I see names. I don't see. I don't know if I read that correctly. Names, I see names. I don't see. Love is true. Maybe I should. Okay, I'm already on all messages. Love you, Shell. It's nice seeing you here with us, friend. The cosmic giggle of it was worth it, friend. Exactly. Because the layers of excitement, the frustration can allow the experience to feel extra special. It's a cycle that seems to follow 7 years, and I feel it's from our conception as compared to our physical birth. I don't think that it is intentional by the universe, but I do think it's the perfect tool to remind us that life is a dance. Those experiences where we have a destination, a mile long circle, and then we look up. Somehow, those frustrating experiences show me the most little things. Yeah, and I had this as a thought recently, Isaac, and I don't know if it's a good one, but it does feel at least partially true that you can only get real good work done from mushroom experiences if you have a bad trip. Right? The bad experiences, or at least relatively speaking, not good experiences I've had, taught me the most. I grew the most out of those experiences, and I gained the most perspective, right? The most little things, as you said, from those experiences. Bless you, bro, on your journey, man. I have two left feet most days, it seems. Dance, cigar. That that helps us, place our feet a little bit more stably. I'm on day 5 of my first tea break in probably almost 2 years. Goodness. Finally pushed through the visceral, hate my life stage. I do wish I could sleep more than 2 to 4 hours without it. That does not sound like a nice time. I'm sorry that you have to struggle with that. Bless you. I hope you also get better sleep. I take Octobers. And every October, sober October we take, I learn a lot about myself as well in those experiences. But I usually learn why I smoke weed. That seems to be the weirdest lesson I keep coming back to, of like, this is why I do it. Right? Because there is a certain level of forgetting those lessons, right? Not remembering them properly, not pulling them up, not applying them the way we can. Because I don't have a wall or a mask, I don't fit in the city. You being too open makes you an outcast or a weirdo in the city. Be weird. Let yourself be weird, Zano. Can understand that feeling. Names. I see names I don't see. I'm thinking about you. Love is true. Every trip I have a bad trip with good moments. That's brutal, Isaac. Maybe a part of you knows that, right? You did say the whole frustration, going in circles, sometimes learning some of the good, gaining from that, right? That sounds very mushroom like when I listen to that conversation. Organic trip versus chemical. For me, I can't use anything synthetic or made by man in a sense, only nature. Or I will always have a bad trip. Yeah. I mean, most of my hard experiences were with mushrooms, right? Which is very natural. But I'm saying hard very relatively, right? Because I believe I am experientially light from a genetic, from a soul, from a personality perspective. I have been gifted with a sense of lightness during most of my life, at most times, right? And I know that's not always the case for most people, and I'm very grateful for that. However, when I take mushrooms, it shows me a depth to my own beingness, right? That's very not light. That's very heavy, right? Heavier than anything I've ever had to carry in my life, kind of vibe. And experiencing that part of myself gives me a lot of sense, right? That the lightness I experience mentally is anchored to something infinitely heavy. And it allows you to experience that dichotomy. And if we don't, it doesn't change our lives necessarily, but if we do, it helps us gain perspective. And if you like perspective, then gaining perspective is the objective. Yeah, the weed is really my IBS medicine and sleep medicine more than my chill happy drug. It's always a bummer to have to ditch my medicine for my medicine to be effective. Yeah, the tolerance build up, right? That is the thing. I don't know if my tolerance has built, right? Like, I think a little bit, but I think because of these things, dosage as well, it hasn't been easy for me to build my tolerance up a lot. Like, I rarely smoke gram joints, and if I try to, it doesn't go well for me. Like, they still very much work. I can, however, say that when I do sober October, my tolerance is significantly different. My brother just asked me to send him my address. Hey Boeta, waar bly jy? Kan jy vir my 'n adres stuur? Ek het 'n troue in Hartbeespoort die 18de Mei. Wil kyk hoe ver dit is van jou af. Hey bro, where do you live? Can you please send me an address? I have a wedding in Hartbeespoort on the 18th of May and I want to see how far away you are. Isn't that cool? My brother wants to come and see me. Love is true. Hey, my Boeta. Hier is my location nou. Hoop is nie te ver weg nie. Dis baie naby my verjaarsdag. Oh, so dit sal nice wees om jou te sien. Dankie dat jy gevra het, man. Alrighty, let's get back to the chapters. When I was young, many nights, I could just not sleep. Same. When I discovered weed, it was the first time I felt embraced by my bed. Bro, that speaks very close to my heart, dude. Like, I went through a fractal of not being able to sleep as a child, due and in large part to my overactive imagination, right? That's at least the way that I was thinking about it at that point in my life. I now think of it more like an open third eye, you can say, right? And because of that open third eye, as soon as I closed my eyes, I would see some whack shit, right? And I was, as a child, I was not seeing good stuff, right? Like, I got viscerally brain damaged by the whole rapture fractal, right? My dad was very adamant about not getting raptured, and how I better believe lest I get raptured, right? driving in the car, listening to CDs about these fucking multi-limbed, multi-eyed monsters that will ascend on our planet's surface, murdering people, burning them. And I was like, brr, my poor third eye, dude, got so violated over and over again by my dad's doctrine that I couldn't sleep. Surprise, surprise. And guess what? He also was not uh, compassionate in me waking up from nightmares and comfort. No, I was told to go back to bed. And then, fortunately, I went through a fractal of learning, learning the depths of my own darkness, I guess you could say. Right. And because I was so plunged into darkness, I assumed that to be a truth, right? The darkness that there would be when you die and the worms eat your flesh, right? That was the way my mind was articulating at that point in my existence, where I was like, bro, there is no heaven. When you die, the electrons firing in your neurons cease to, and then so do you. And I was very proud of myself for coming to this conclusion and accepting this emptiness. But guess what? I was empty without, at least in my mind, the soul I knew I had. Right? Very negative, dark. And I got more and more depressive. Right? That darkness, that emptiness became, it went from acceptance to longing, right? Of like, oh, why not just kill myself? Why even bother, postponing? Will people even care? No, they probably won't. Some people won't even go to your funeral, and then after they went to your funeral, they'll go on with their lives, like nothing happened. That's what's gonna happen. And I'm like, yeah, checks out, right? Got darker and darker. Uh, I started googling stuff. My mom had access to my search history. So the stuff I was googling, she knew, and it became apparent to her that I was getting ready to, depart. And she tried to talk to me about it. We started going to doctors, got on antidepressants, and the antidepressants only made it worse. Like the amount of night sweats and like night terrors of screaming myself awake. And then I basically tried committing suicide with those same medications, like pounding like a whole bottle of them with 750 mils of vodka. Apparently that's supposed to kill you, didn't work. Came back from that experience, having in part had like a pretty psychedelic experience as well, where I found myself at the gates of my death, at the departure of my death, and then asked the question or shown the inevitability of what that means, how I die in that moment, and then I have to go all the way around eternity to get back to that moment, to not make that mistake. And it did shake me a little bit, but it didn't make life any more uh, beautiful. It just kind of locked me in a stalemate of like, fuck, like I can't escape, but I can also not find any love in this experience. And I was also during that time still not sleeping properly, right? And if I was allowed to, I would basically just watch content until like 2, 3 a.m. in the mornings until I couldn't keep my eyes open anymore, and then try and fall asleep from there. That was my strategy kind of vibe. And then I went to the doctor after the whole suicide attempt thing with my mom, communicated the situation. He told me, we've tried what we've tried, and one thing that he can recommend is weed. And my dad was there with me actually. My mom was the one who initially got it, but my dad was the one who was there with me. My dad was not too keen about taking that advice. However, I was, right? At that point as well, I was like over the hump of trying to kill myself. So I had a certain level of not give a fuck energy going on, right? So I was like, because for my whole life, I was told that weed changes you on a DNA level, right? I was told that people smoke weed and then, kill their grandma. Like, I was told shit like that about weed. And at that point in my life, I was like, bro, I don't care. I don't care at all anymore about anything. So I might as well smoke weed. And I did. Found weed, smoked weed, and I felt light. I felt light and I felt tired, right? Like that. It's weird. It's weird. I don't even know how to explain it. Like I still feel every single experience you go there, it is different. It is so different. And you forget what that experience means to you in that moment, but it's so special. And I slept that night for the first time in what felt like a decade. And I woke up the next morning feeling better than I've ever woken up feeling in like years. And it completely rocked my worldview, where I was like, hold the fuck up. Cigarettes and Hubblies. I've been given prescription drugs, but this thing that I've been told is illegal and will ruin my life if I ever tried it helped me so tremendously with a single use, right? And it changed my mind on like what chemicals can do when you embrace it into your system. Because alcohol was never something that I particularly enjoyed. The Hubly, I could blow circles. That was cool. Uh, but it wasn't exactly meaningful, right? And being able to sleep was. And then that eventually, right? And this is where a part of me, I don't even know if I should share this information, but that that awareness opened up a curiosity in me. And that's why people call it a gateway drug, right? Of like, oh yeah, you'll do weed and then you'll do all the other drugs. That is not something I believe in completely. But the fact that weed didn't kill me and turned me into a degenerate grandma stabber instantaneously kind of brought up some questions in my consciousness of like, ah, how about that? And then, since I was very interested in the chemistry, and I did do my research, I was familiarized with the whole endocannabinoid system and THC and CBD, and how they affect things and how they balance each other. And then I started doing research about like antidepressant, plant chemicals. And that obviously, gave me hits of psilocybin. And then psilocybin became the new topic of interest. And I dove down that whole, rabbit hole, found out, saw how much literature there already is, and made friends. Made friends who had mushrooms. And that was one of the kind of like turning points for me when it came to my depression, where I had this 2 gram mushroom experience with these friends that wasn't particularly good. It was very awkward because one of the friends that I got the mushrooms from, I mean, he got I did, knowing that it's my first time at his house, and we were getting into this stripping experience. And I have now, at this point in my life, found out that I tend to be a heavyweight when it comes to psychedelics, right? I feel like it might be my autistic side, right, where serotonin as an information source, like social communication, gives you serotonin, for example. Since I have a hard time processing that information, or that information doesn't mess with my processing as much, I can go further with more of that information kind of vibe. right? And it was messing with him to a degree that it was giving him a bad trip because he was tripping out and I was basically stone cold sober, just trying to have a deep conversation with this person. And then the more I try to have a conversation and I can still articulate myself and I can still, like keep my own in this conversation, the more it trips him out that I'm capable of doing that. So we basically cut the conversation of him being like, bruh, I think your mushrooms aren't working, kind of stuff. I'm like, no, I definitely feel something. I just don't feel what you think I'm supposed to be feeling. We watched the Doctor Strange movie. That movie just came out, right? So just to give you an idea of how long ago that is as well. The Doctor Strange movie. I'm basically in my peak experience watching him go down that tunnel when the monk lady touches his forehead, right? It is an experience. I'm having a good time. I go to the bathroom and I get to have that experience. To some of you friends who've been on psychedelics, being in the bathroom on psychedelics uh, is very surreal, right? Like you have so much to think about. There is such a sense of familiarity, yet like a questioning of what the hell is happening, a deep sense of humbling after you go through this experience of having your mind's weights lifted, and then still having to go through this fractal of being a person. It's interesting, right? And I come out of the bathroom, and we basically conclude the night and go to our separate rooms. So not exactly a deep experience, but I get 3 more grams from that friend again, and I'm like, okay, I'll do this again, and this time I go home. We're at like it was a weekend. I was at home. I articulate to my family that I am going to meditate tonight. That is what I said to them, right? I'm gonna meditate tonight, all family members, and I need privacy while I'm meditating, please. No bother me while meditate. And then I eat these mushrooms, those 3 grams of mushrooms. And I turn into what I would describe uh, as a cat. And I say that kind of coyly because I definitely did not turn into a cat or for a second thought I was a cat. However, my behavior was being on my bed, cozy, right? Snuggling like a cat, right? At some point close to the peak of my experience, I just was laying on my bed, crunching my blankets up to my face, feeling the sensation of the softness on my skin, and being overwhelmed with this deep sense of, I am so grateful to be alive. And just feeling that way in that moment showed me that there was a depth to my being that I never knew I had, right? Because at that point in my life, I was very much a materialist, right? There was nothing but the material. When you die, the neurons stop firing, you dead. Darkness, right? All material. And it showed me how laying on this bed, right? No food to eat. I wasn't watching that much content at that point as well. I was just laying down. I was listening to some music, but that wasn't too overstimulating. Just music and being on my bed. And I felt a sense of gratitude for being alive so deep that that it tripped me out, right? Like I've been given gifts, I've been kissed, I've been, like I can go down the list of what humans want, right? And none of those things made me feel as grateful to be alive as I was in that moment, just being on my bed alive. And I was like, what the hell, dude? How is that possible? How is it possible for me to be grateful to be alive when I'm not being given anything? What's going on here? Surely happy can only come from the world when give me, right? And the mushrooms are like, no, not right. Happiness comes from inside. And I'm like, wait a second. And it changed me. It did. It did change me. So yeah, weed and mushrooms, psychedelics. We did talk about the whole default mode network thing. These plant chemicals are there for a reason. I think they're very strong right now as well, but uh, uh, I want to say something, but it feels like I'm not supposed to say that something I'm going to say. Uh, I'll say I like. I like. Thank you. Thank you, marijuanas, for being as strong as you are. Because at some point, again, right, they were rolling themselves 1 gram joints with 10% or 7% or 5% THC weed, and that was fine. But I'm not smoking that much right now, so it being strong is great. I appreciate it. Thank you again, marijuaners. All right, what a story. Thank you, friends, for going down memory lane a little bit with me. It's good to remind myself of these things, who I've been, all of the weird things I've experienced, right? And again, these things might be weird, relatively speaking, but the fact that all of you friends are human beings, you know what I'm talking about, right? You might not have verbatim or beat for beat experienced exactly what I did, but surely you could relate. You could relate in some way. And if you're like, no, Melt, actually, I can't relate at all, I'm just gonna call cap again because the fact that you could understand me at all, you could understand the context, the fractal I was in, means that there is a part of you that understands, that relates, right? In language, at the very least. This is gonna be our last bowl of white waiting for a little bit. Mm-mm-mm. Sadly, I can relate all too well. Cigar, the human experience. Welcome. Welcome to the human experience. We did, I do believe, sign up for this. We did, right? We were like, yeah, I want this human experience. I hadn't really believed that beforehand. My experience with shrooms led me to my realization that I'm not just surviving, but that I want to live. There we go. Yeah, that's it. That's it, Chauvin, right? Maybe that's the better way, even, to articulate what I was going through. That I'm just laying here and I'm so grateful to be alive. The other side of it is exactly what Joe said, right? It was a deep understanding. Because, like, I should give again the context. At that point in my life, I was still, like, following these beats of, you should probably kill yourself. Right? Like, why haven't you killed yourself yet? You know, are you scared? Right? Not putting on the safety belt intentionally because if we're in a car crash, I want to die. Right? Like articulating and interfacing with my world from that perspective, and then suddenly having my worldview rocked. Of like, wait a second, do I want to be alive? Like really badly, like I actually would fight to stay alive right now, you know, because of how great it is. And I was like, whoa, what do I ask about? Thank you, Joe, for sharing your perspective. Yeah, and again, right, that is so valuable. Everybody deserves to feel that way, to want to be alive. Sounds so corny, but goodness, it's hard these days. Oh yeah. I just have to expect my bad trips. I think about it when you eat some Taco Bell and the next day your insides are screaming. I can't relate, unfortunately, slash fortunately, because we don't have Taco Bell here. But that doesn't sound like a good time, dude. Paying for your insides to scream doesn't sound like my idea of a good use of money. That's the start of the trip, the insides growing, bubbling, but without fail, the contrast after you get it out is where the relief is. That's been my experience, right? First 3 hours is work time, gonna be doing some work, right? No, have good time, gonna be thinking about things. Gonna be, in the way I've articulated, is I'm gonna be trudging through human sludge. right? Because that's sometimes what it's like. I literally, as a psychedelic experience, go through all of these iterations of like teeth gnashing humanity. To say it in so many words without giving you more of a descriptor. But there's teeth gnashing humanity clashing in your insides, right? And you have to be there with it. You have to be there with it. And then as you go through that experience, right, you realize it's you gnashing your teeth at that experience. And if you can let yourself let go into it, that's when the good stuff starts, right? And it for me it takes 2 to 3 hours every single time I go into the psychedelic experience. And that's why, right, at this point in my life, I don't seek psychedelic experiences that much anymore, right? They cause me great anxiety. I'm kind of shy to say, right? Before I take psychedelics, there is a deep sense of like, oh goodness, like staring over the edge of a ledge, right? Like that sense of like heart drop. And I know it's my ego, right? I know it's my ego being like, no, no, we know who we are. My ego says, we know who we are. I'm like, no, we need to take a step back. Let's take a step back a little, melt things, melt the ego, and then re-see where we can go from that point forward. Man, I think I'm very far behind, but I'm gonna try and catch up. My counselor at 11 back in 93 told me to smoke a joint before getting on the school bus to get me to actually attend school. At 11. I think 11 might have been a little bit of a steep age. But I do get it. They gave me Concerta. I think a joint might have been better than meth. And again, because of, I believe, my heavy weightedness, I never felt the things. I couldn't even have a good time on them. I was like, this feels like nothing. I just feel like myself. And I was still very much depressed. I think that was also one of the bars. I was like, yeah, now I just feel depressed faster or something. There was more iterative loops of depression happening in my mind, right? But there was no escaping of the loop. There we go. Love is true. Woo! People say that when I'm talking to them, I look at them and it makes them feel naked. People have said that to me too. Like I'm peering into their soul. It's still loving. I don't mean to do that. I just want to listen. Yeah. I do that too, Zano. And people do find themselves uncomfortable by it. However, I think the parts of them that feel uncomfortable about it is the part of them that needs to be looked at. Right? And it's that part of them that's going to try and escape as well. It's not them, actually. Right? It's like a melting. It's like a casting light, scorching it, not allowing it to escape. Less by that own person's mind, right? Them realizing they are worthy of your attention. But it is a process. It's not exactly something you can force. I'm curious, says Isaac. I had an idea the other day as my chemically imbalanced brain was in the sunken place. I imagined a supplement like a chew tab or something that is built for tea breaks. Gives you very small, low release amounts of dopamine so that there isn't such an according effect. I mean, dude, like technically speaking, you can do that, right? You can do that. Legally and ethically speaking, anything that gives dopamine you can buy as a bar has potential for abuse. I would probably abuse dopamine bars. Won't lie. Dopamine bars technically can be called just candy bars as well, or chocolate bars. Those are like literally dopamine bars. I do get you're talking about slow release, but that means we're talking about new chemical pathways. So meth or cocaine, those are our go-tos right now when it comes to putting dopamine in the brain. And meth candy bars, I mean, you would sell a lot of them. You would sell so many of them, Isaac. You would not be able to keep the shelves stocked. A lot of them will get stolen as well, probably. But it would work. People would like them. I think they might end up taking up a new drug instead, though. Your candy bars. They won't smoke another joint in their lives. Nope, I think this time it was kind of showing myself I can do it. I'm only going 10 days, but going to try to do more frequently in the future. Bless. Maybe as well, when you do start smoking again, it could be like a time frame thing, right? Instead of smoking the whole day, you can start smoking at some point in the day. And then you can also like kind of like really savor that first time in the day experience instead of it being this continual loop of being high, right? Right. Mm-mm-mm. I have dark eyes that pierce people's defenses. Yeah, 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 yeah. There's so much to see by looking at a person. I feel like I'm so scatterbrained that I can't find my place reliably on the comment section. Yeah, dude, it's like a trauma response that our imagination takes over to cope, but creates a hyperactive mind space. I had a lot of negative stimulus as a kid, screaming, fighting in the background. Yeah, that too. I lived in a gun violence heavy place and next to a military base. We didn't have gun violence. We had guns firing, but not gun violence at least. I'm not trying to make your story less, just seeing the contrast in human experiences and still how well you've turned out, bro. To cope gun violence, where they do artillery tests and such in the night. I'd hear rhythmic booms. My mind would paint a picture of Godzilla marching through a field just crazy in scale, and it helped. Also bred into my obsession with kaijus and massive beings in fiction. Giving you a big hug right now, broski. Love you, Isaac. Yeah, dude. Using our imagination to create different worlds. Right, and I feel like now we found ourselves in a transition period where we'll actually start and use that imaginative power to change the outer world, not only our inner worlds. At least that's why I believe we had to go through those experiences. The good doctor, I appreciate the darkness as is needed to appreciate the light to its fullest. Melt, I appreciate you sharing as you have right now. This, for me at least, shows I am not alone. Not by any measure. Are you alone? Like, any. You can measure in so many ways, and in so many ways, you will not be alone. You are loved always. Thank you, Cigar, for being here with us, dear friend. The heart was on the fence, ready to fight, ready to run. We takes away the danger. Yeah, I don't know if we takes away the danger. For me, we takes away the the critical, like you know that a sound from Solid Snake, that like squing, right? Like the alert sound. That like suddenly ah ah wah, ah! That experience, that like the peak of that weed cuts that for me. And again, I do believe I will eventually start cutting back on my weed use as well, when I can use the part of me that's extremely loud, right? And very sharp. And I'll be able to cut a path with that part of myself. But at this point in my life, I would rather be a little bit melty, right? A little bit more smooth. in my approach to this reality instead of being quite so sharp. Sharp. Right, I would rather go. Does that make any sense? No, makes sense to me. All right, must be the weed. Guess it's damaged me now or something. Right, it's too late for me now. Save yourselves. Had your kids. Oh no 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 no. That was in the fence. It's amazing how fight or flight response is the natural impulse. I'm the opposite. I'm so very sensitive to the psychedelic space and emotional conversation in general. I feel really hard. Blessings and curses. Yeah, I feel really deeply, but not hard, right? Like I'll allow myself to go to the depth of feeling, but there's a certain level of detachment sometimes, at least. Is it detachment or is it deep acceptance? For instance, I took 3 grams of mushrooms with Johan and Christian and Yusuf in 2018, 18, end of 2018. And as I was basically getting into the peak of this experience, my dad drives up to the copy, that Magnita copy, the little hill, little mountain, mini mountain, right? So instantly, I hear the crunching of rocks underneath the tires coming up the side of the mountain. I'm in a psychedelic state of mind. I'm very sensitive. I'm very aware of the information around me right now. But again, since I am in my mind a heavy weight of this stuff, I am still 100% articulate despite being on 3 grams of mushrooms. And I did tell my dad that that is what is happening, that I'm eating mushrooms with my friends. So he comes up to the copy, and I can see in his face that he's not there to give me good news. And he tells me my grandpa died, Opa Bertie, which came as more of a shock than anything. Because my grandma, Oma Yuki, his wife, he was my step grandpa, right? My grandma remarried after her husband died. He was her caretaker kind of vibe. She had Alzheimer's in a bad way, right? Like she was at a point in her life where she was just shouting profanities into the air at people walking by her. Like it was bad, right? So in our minds, there was this misguided belief that she would be the first one to pass and my grandpa would continue to live his life, kind of vibe. And then I get this news in the psychedelic state of mind that he is now dead. And I have so much acceptance in my heart in that moment that I say to my dad, I don't think I could be in a better state of mind to receive this information right now. Because it didn't come to me as a loss, didn't come to me as a travesty, a devastation. It came to me as a part of life, right? Because in that day, I've told you friends this story so many times about the snake and the gecko that were like battling each other to death, right? And the snake winning that battle and us watching that unfold. Like that happened, and then I got this news about my grandpa, and it felt just so the way of life, right? Like in me fighting that or being upset about that would be like fighting the sun coming up or being upset about that. And yeah, it changed my attachment. And then grandma passed a few months after that as well. And again, there was this sense of acceptance, of like feeling that she's not losing anything, dying. She is gaining, in my mind, new wings. Like her soul has grown through this experience and is now going to continue on to something new, something, in my mind, consciously more evolved, right? Because she literally spent her whole life as consciousness evolving here. That's what you're here for, right? So it's not bad when your consciousness moves on. And then Kiki died. And then Kiki died. And that I was not ready for. I'm almost crying just thinking about it again. Because she was only 6 months old, right? She had 20x the life still to live, more even. And the fact that she couldn't, that I had a problem with. Right? Like I could accept when someone who has lived, something who has lived dies, but I had a very hard time having that same level of acceptance when something so young passes. Like I'm getting emotional thinking about it again, and I'm trying to understand why. Is it me being selfish? Again, right? Because who am I to say that those 6 months that she spent on the earth was clearly enough time for her to evolve as much as she needed to? She consciously evolved anyway, right? And her soul going on to new experiences. Me wanting to hold on to her for, 12 more years is selfish. It's selfish. Would be selfish with me. If I could Frankenstein her soul back into her mangled little body, now she has to suffer in that body just because I wanted her to live. Right? Right? No. I'm I'm gaining perspective. And I'm learning that love is true in so many different ways. Love is true. Epic lovins to you all. Epic lovins to you. Right? It leveled you out. The same thing happened to me. Love is true. My first experience of shrooms, level up again. Can't relate to it. I hadn't really believed that beforehand. Me too, Joe. I also didn't believe that I wanted to live. It really is a tragedy. I'm gonna vape some the future. I'll vape the future. That sounds a little bit destructive. Don't worry, future. You can grow more. Smells. Don't you say like weed. Don't you say it smells like weed. It does smell like weed though. So you would be right, to be completely honest. This one smells very like cereal. Like there's definitely a twinge of, fresh marijuana-ness, but there is this experience of cereal. There we go. I have extracted a small piece of marijuana ganax to put in my little grinder bits. I will put this back in my Turplock bag that has a membrane that air exchanges so that the bud on the inside reaches close to 58 to 60% humidity. I feel like I'm joking about that, but that's actually true. Oh no, it's 58 to 62% humidity. Very cool. And this part satisfies me a lot. Again, trying to understand how love is true. I had to replace this little baggie because my other one got stolen, right? And now, that little bag fits so perfectly. Right in there. It was from this little baggie that the police stole my weed as well. One just like that. So, silver linings. Or whatever, right? That moon looks beautiful coming over there rising as well. Alright, back to the comments. Back to the earth. Bring myself back down again. I have taken mushrooms before, but they just make me cry uncontrollably. So I haven't touched them in a while. Maybe I need someone else around when I take them. How many times have you had that experience of uncontrollable crying? If you've done that at least 3 times, then I think you've gone through it, right? Like, do 3 uncontrollable cryings by yourselves. That'll, doctors. No, I can't say shit like that. I'll get sued or whatever. Not doctor's orders. I'm not a doctor. Very much not a doctor, and this is not medical advice. But it could be good for your psyche to have some of those experiences, because that it can be like a crying laughter even sometimes, the cosmic giggling through you, and then pursue having experiences with other people as well. They will definitely change the set and setting. This is true. Sometimes for the better, sometimes for the even better, for the double as better. Yes. Oh, I'm just having flashbacks. There's this experience I had where me and all my friends uh, intended to play with the lions together. And a girl that I wanted to date, kind of vibe, but told her I can't date her because I'm going to China in like less than a month, was there as well. And then while I was amidst the lions, she took it upon herself to let me know what an asshole I am for not making it work and for telling her the way I did. Oh, goodness. So, yeah. Other people in your environment can also change the experience for the worse. So, mindfulness when it comes to like choosing your trip partners as well. Sam, you would benefit from a guided experience of someone, as it is very emotional, and most bad trips, in that way, are mind over matter, and a good mindset beforehand helps. Yeah. There's a whole thing you can do to steer the mind in the right directions. Cigar, I remember feeling low, curiously, looking inward, hearing a threatening noise, and reaching for a pocket knife in response. Then my mind was like, well then, why did you grab the knife? Oh, wow. Yeah. And a feminine voice as well, wasn't it? At least for me, that voice in my mind that talks when I'm in the psychedelic experience is very feminine. Yeah, it sometimes burns me out. I want to have an even slight trip without the therapy, because the gratitude and their connectivity is so beautiful. I mean, if you're, and again, this is not advice, and I haven't done this before, so I am 100% speaking out of the information that I know, but not the information I've experienced, which takes a lot of depth away from what I'm saying right now, right? But ketamine might be what you're looking for in that case, because apparently that is just like antidepressive, where you don't feel as anymore, and it's psychedelic in nature as well, making you feel like you're floating on marshmallows or whatever. I haven't tried it. I would like to. It's something I'm curious about, but again, where do I get it, and how do I know it's actually clean? And so I believe there are medical clinics these days at least. So love is true. Awaken humanity. Jobot, that is along the lines of what my last bad trip was like. I definitely will share more on Discord outside of Mel's live stream. You are welcome to do as you wish, dear friend. Love is true. Tag me so I can get the note if and remember to look. I'm lacking in the remember muscle department. I think me too a little bit. Like my consistency muscle, is like jacked out of his mind. But my remember muscle, is like twiddling his fingers kind of vibes. There's a hawk. Is it a hawk? No, that might be a dove. But like a jack looking dove. Like he looks like very very plump. Chilling on the wire there. Sending some burp love and to all of you friends. I live down the street from where Mythbusters used to blow things up. That's pretty cool. The other places. Did you hear some of the booms? I'm hoping so. The elemental airstrip shell. Oh, that big boom place. No, it's human. That is so painful. It's more than understandable to have those feelings. Yeah, the weird things we humans do. This stream has gotten pretty deep, huh? Yes, the weird things humans do. Yo. That tastes like honey O's. It tastes like cereal from a box. Yeah, honey flavored cereal. That does taste really nice. I don't eat cereal at all anymore, but this is a nice way to do that. One more heat. If the wind isn't gonna steal it. Click, click. I'm fine. Love is true. That was a very big puff. I think I bit off more than I could chew for a second there. There we go. Okay. How many have you done? 3? Like 5 times this happened now. I'm afraid to do any more, honestly. Okay. Like 5 times it's happened now. 5 is a good number. Next trip, I think it's good. You've already said it, to have an experience with some loved ones. Right? Do something good. Go and do something. That will be the best. That's a big part as well. Knowing where what are using came from. Where what you were using came from. And that is pure to what you plan to experience. Exactly. Yeah. Unfortunately, the war on drugs has not helped anybody. It has only hurt more people. But that will change slowly but surely. There's already now a shelf stable legal form of LSD, FDA approved, because money or whatever. I'm setting up my paints right now, getting ready to crack out a few more. I'll play some drums for you while you start cracking on one of them paintings. How does that sound, Zano? And look at that shadow being cast, the brightness of the dark. Zano is an inspiration. That she is. That she is. Here we go. Beats have been made. Frequencies have been inputted into this reality. The Burbies started. I think it might be sun setting Burbies, but still, I want to take a certain level of pride in the drum noises that were being made. But as I was drum noising, the birds started flocking into this little tree and were absolutely putting down bars that were creating a deep sense of inspiration in me. Thank you, friends, for listening. Hey, Connor is here. Bless you, bro. I got my sustenance. Tea, melt stream on one side, and my paints and brushes on the other. Bless. Yes, give me the beatbox. Give me a little soul. I want to get lost in the beats and paint away. I hope you got to do some things. Heck yeah. You felt it? Felt the energy. Thank you for being there with me for it. Mm-mm-mm-mm. There is the beatbox. I would that it's the beatbox. It's the beatbox now. You friends have spoken. I do like it. It's very apt. It's very apt. It is a box, and I beat it. How how clear of a name do you want? It's perfect. I want to get lost in peace and paint away. There's a gentleman I used to work with that is a master when it comes to percussion instruments adaptation. Anywhere they can put down a set. Yeah, I am definitely not one of them. A master that is. I am still learning. But I am having fun. And I can see that there is beats in me to be found if I can just let go. Let my weirdness flow instead of trying to direct my weirdness. Right. Hope things are going well, dear friends. Just stopping by to share some love. Thank you, dear friend. Your love has been received. I'm gonna go and get my cards, and then we're going to pull one before we say goodbye. Before we say goodbye, dear friend. Thank you for joining me. I'll say goodbye, dear friend. It was a pleasure having you once again. I'll see you soon. Tomorrow. Drumming can be like dancing in that regard, very much so. It is like dancing with your hands. Only you're the one making the music. A part of me would like to put down a beat and then add more to it, and then go and dance a little bit until I'm sick of the beat, and then sit down and put down a new beat. And then I can go and dance. Add some more percussion instruments with my fingers. There'll be fun had. There'll be music made. Don't ye worry. I'm just putting in my hours. Putting in my few minutes of trying to make some music. I'm not putting in nearly enough hours. Nearly. But I'm putting in some, right? Maybe once a week I put like in 1 hour if I do it a little bit every day. Either way, I'm feeling green. Old cards? Old cards. Old cards for today. You're feeling green? You want to loop that beatbox? Maybe not loop it necessarily. Maybe technically, yes, but just being able to have it like repeat the beat variation and then add more to it. Right? Like I'll be okay with it repeating looping one beat variation and then me being able to add some, right? Add some variation, like prog, keep it progressive. But I don't want to deal with all of the electronics and stuff that comes along with that. Right? So I'll do it when it's easy. But I'll have to still practice while it's hard. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Not green. Not green. No green whatsoever. But I still feel like the car just next to it was very green. And Zano, it's also the same geometry because these cards are brother and sister. They live next to each other. They're neighbor cards. So I feel like the fact that they are neighbor cards means that they need to both be red. It's the same geometry both ways as well. Baby red. This is more purple actually though. I know it doesn't look like it, but it registers to my brain as this is purple. This is actually supposed to be interpreted as purple. Maybe it helps if the green is next to it. But yeah, look at that. Do you see the geometries? Do you feel yourself spiraling? One of them is a heart Taurus, and the other is the green Taurus. Yeah, heart Taurus and green Taurus, the two Taurus cards, pulled at the same time. How do they end up directly next to each other? Is the thing that I'm tripping out about. That's my main color combo. Mine too, weirdly enough. Purple and green are my favorites. I mean, Orange was not happy about me saying that green is one of my favorites. I'm sorry, Orange. I really love you. Purple, green, and orange is my favorites. Red was not happy about me thinking that time. You know, I'm just gonna skip ahead and say I like all the colors. I really like all the colors. Like they're so pretty. That's my main color. Are you right? Yeah, you're right. Like a pinky lavender. Yeah, exactly. It's all our Taurus energy coming through. Look at the universe staring at you with Taurus eyes. Yeah, orange as well. And dude, so much the same in that. My mom doesn't like orange. My mom doesn't like orange. And that's weird to me. I have like an orange, very bright orange scarf. And when I make art with it, the orange is very apparent. Like it's not a part of the art you don't notice kind of vibe, right? And when I show my mom those works, she's like, I don't like this. I'm like, why? She's like, I don't like orange. What do you mean? I don't like orange. Yeah. No like orange. Why? Yeah, it's almost Taurus time. It is true. It is almost Taurus time, right? It starts in April, right? Hot take. You don't like orange. Zano is a not like orange person. Squinty eyes go squinty. My alt account I gave to my roommate was orange Fago. That's kind of nice. Not any other color Fago. Orange Fago. High Taurus and green Taurus. Alright, I guess I have to start reading. I don't like orange, and I really don't like yellow. Right, I don't mind them. Like this is an orange and yellow card. Like the color has its uses. It's a powerful color, but each to their own, at least. I like them all, but I like them all because they're like colors of the feminine, right? They're like parts of what makes me in love with the divine feminine. Is all of her colors. If there was a color I didn't like, she would spit in my face, and I would be conflicted about how I feel about that for a second until I established that I was disrespectful and I don't like it, in fact. But then I would also realize that I was being disrespectful and looking a gift everything in the mouth instead of in the eyes. All right. Intelligence of the heart. Heart Taurus. The Taurus is a piece of sacred geometry that, when viewed as three-dimensional, looks rather like a donut, right? Like a tube in the middle, bleeding out into the outside world. You are that pillar in the middle. Your environment bleeding out from this pillar that you are standing as. The human heart has 7 muscles that form a torus, and it is shaped like the Earth's magnetic field. How about that? The toroidal energy connects you with the intelligence of your heart and asks you to become conscious of the effect emotions have on your ability to experience life wholly. Emotions open your heart and can lead to a deeper connection with self and others, allowing you to feel more at peace and in balance. Emotions can also baffle your intellect and stir up confusion. Integrating head and heart, mind, and emotions is the expression and function of the intelligence of your heart. Meditate with the heart torus. Sit within its dynamic movement and really feel its vitality as you knowingly connect with your heart. Consciously experience the emotions that arise. Bless what you are feeling and ask how this may inform what is occurring in your life today. Allow yourself to feel gratitude for your very human ability to experience emotions, and in doing so, honor the intelligence of your heart. Very apt to today's stream topic. Ooh, and I even said the word acceptance today. The other one, the green one, is green Taurus. This green Taurus, snuggled comfortably within a nest of flowers, is both dynamic and passive. Its revolving magnetic spirit invites you to move into the green shadowy center and trust where you may be led. It is the nature of the Taurus to move energy, and the energy moving here is that of acceptance and trust. Calmly allow your attention to follow the swirling arms towards the mysterious center. Recognize that you are moving through a passageway that may offer insights into the matter of your inquiry. Agree to be open to the messages you may receive and trust that you are guided from within and beyond. Use this energy of potential as a means of accessing your most pure personal truth. Accept that this could be challenging, since many of us do not trust ourselves enough to recognize authentic truth when we are in its presence. Try to stay in this energy until you feel self-acceptance and sense a message you can trust. Sit with this knowing and have faith in what you find at your core. Gently follow the arms of the Taurus back into your reality. Knowing you may better trust and accept yourself. As you learn to trust and accept yourself, you will find it easier to be tolerant and trusting of others. I want to add weirdness. You will find it easier to be tolerant and trusting of others' weirdness as you learn to accept yourself. And that is empirically true. I've noticed, at least. The more comfortable a person is with themselves and their character and their state of being and who they are in the world, the less they concern themselves with how someone else is differently. Right? Surprise, surprise. Knowing thyself makes you more comfortable. Always keep it weird. Yeah, love is true. This is very appropriate, I feel, considering the stream today. The cards never lie, do they? They always like showing up for us when we need them most. Gold is okay, and not yellow gold, like an antique gold, like a champagne or brass, yes. A donut with us in the middle. with our own donut. Yeah. Look at all of this donut you have to eat. Infinity Donut. The everything bagel is around you right now. Literally. Embrace your weirdness. Yes, please. Being normal is weird. Embrace your weirdness. Have the most mystifying day, everyone. Your for reals are so super massively and very muchly adored. Methodical Meltmore. And all of you oh so very outerworldly, uniquely, eccentrically, divinely, individualistically, expressively, celestially, anomalously, transgressively, free spirited, authentic, wholesome, humanimal critter creatures doing weird things in a world full of weirdness. Thank you, Joe, for our shared message, for the love that you have chosen to share into this space. You could have shared anything, and you shared something beautiful. Thank you, dear friends, for being tolerant and trusting of others' weirdness. I'm not even tolerant and trusting of my own weirdness. Thank you for trying. Thank you for listening to me. Thank you for doing something you think you're not doing. Now, I have juxtapositioned you into having to go and trust your weirdness and others' weirdnesses so that you can earn my thank yous of you doing that or whatever. Love, love is true. Thank you for joining me. Sam, I was there before as well. I am here with you, friends, right now. And I will be again tomorrow. Goodbye, everybody. Love is true. I'm being obstinate for the fun of it, cigar. I know that about you too. That's why I'm adding some fun to the fire. I appreciate it, Sam. Sam's weirdness is some of my favorite. Love is true. Sending your blessings, dear friends. I'll see you again soon.